If your drum tracks, your MIDI drum tracks sound fake or obviously MIDI, or if they just sound bad, I'm going to show you what I do to MIDI tracks to make them sound better. Alright, so the first step is the arrangement. I'm sure most of you are guitarists like me, so we have to try and think like a drummer and program them in the way a drummer would. So I've got this track here that I'm going to play. I'll play it the whole way through and then I'll talk about it afterwards. The drums don't sound terrible, but they're very rigid. They're very just MIDI. It's very obvious they're MIDI. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some fills and stuff and liven it up. So here we go. So yeah, you got to remember as well when you're putting in things like this. You're not going to be. They're not going to be doing that, are they? They might not even be doing this one. There we go. So now we've got some fills in there. We're going to sort out the cymbals, the velocity on the cymbals. I used to, when I was younger, I'd program drums like this all the time. Cymbals at 127, and it ruined the song. I didn't notice at the time, but I listened back to the songs and it does my head in. So yeah, no drummer is just smacking. Well, they might, but they're not just smacking their cymbals as hard as they can throughout the whole time. They have accented ones. Again, not a drummer. Take it with a pinch of salt. They accent certain things, and those cymbals are the ones you want at 127. The rest of them, apart from the China, actually, a lot, especially with the MIDI packs, you need to smack the China. So let's go to this section here. Yeah, so those ones I'll leave as normal. These I'm going to take down maybe to like 108. The Chinas are going to stay. Another thing is at the start of every few bars, 2 bars, 4 bars, depends on the song, smack the other cymbals as well. There we go. If they're hitting the China on the right, they're probably going to hit the first crash. That's what I would do if I was a drummer. Right, and then the next thing you want to do with the cymbals is Logic has a really cool feature. I'm sure other DAWs have it as well, called Humanize. So you go over to here, Functions, MIDI Transform, Humanize. Position, obviously, is where the note is located. Velocity is how hard it's sitting. And then length is how long the note is. Since all these drums are one-shots, you don't need to worry about that one. So position, I'm going to do about 15. I'll take that down to like 8. So you want to do operate only. Select the notes that you want on the piano roll, and then do operate only. If you do select and operate, I'm pretty sure it just selects all the notes, either on that track or in the MIDI region. I'm not sure. There we go. And if you have a look, you'll see it just randomizes the velocity and the position a bit, and hopefully it will make it sound a bit more natural. Yeah, it's subtle, but it works. You can do it on the shells and the kick and all that stuff. I tend not to, just because I want punchy, consistent drums. Sometimes I'll humanize them, but most modern drums are quantized to the grid anyway. so I wouldn't worry too much about that. The last thing I'm going to do is, I hate the sound of this China. I'm using the GGD, this one Kit Wonder. It's fine, but yeah, the China sucks. I hate it. So I moved that onto a Steven Slate one, the Steven Slate 3. There we go. Right, so the next step is samples. If you don't have samples, you can skip the step to the mixing, but I just like putting samples in. Just beefs up the sound. I know some people get a bit squeamish over samples, but at the end of the day, it's MIDI drums. So I'm using the Seb Barlow ones, the now bassist, but he was the producer of a bunch of Neck Deep albums. Those cost money, but there are plenty of free ones. I just like using these ones. They sound really good. There are multiple ways you can do samples. I know that people use like triggering software, but I'm just going to show you the way that I do it, which is utilizing sampler instruments. I'm sure every DAW will have their own sampler instrument, but I'm using Logic, obviously. Come down here, sampler instrument. It's actually down here. And you're going to want to build your drum sample instrument. I know it's a weird way, but it's just the way I've always done it. So I've got my samples here. I like to layer them so you can blend them to how you like. So I'll just start with kick. There you go. I like to do kicks at C and then B and A sharp. I've got 4 snares. There we go. And then toms. I never used to layer the toms. And in this video, I'm not going to. Next, this is really important, this step. Come over to this little Z, and you want to mark them all as one shot. Otherwise, it'll only play the note for as long, or play the sample for as long as the note is. Also, on the toms, you want to pan them, which is just here. So, floor tom, you want pan to the right. Let's say 30. And then the rack tom, maybe 20. I'll do them a bit more, actually. I'll do that one to 30 and that one to 40. Right, and then there you go. So you got your instrument. Save that. As you can see, I already got some, but I'll save these. Samples. 3. And then you just want to copy that across all of your tracks. So yeah, I've got a snare track, a kick track, and a tom track. Copy your standard, there you go, standard drum track. So what we're on snare. So select everything, shift, click the snare, delete. So that gets rid of everything else. Then you can, copy the notes to however many you had. Once you've got them copied down, there you go, you've just got... Let's turn this down for now, because we'll blend them in. And then rinse and repeat for the kick and the toms. That bottom one's quite roomy, so I'll turn that one down to 105. There we go. Obviously that sounds ridiculous at the moment. And then toms. So that's the rack tom, isn't it? That's the floor. There we go. So once we've got this, you just want to blend them in. Kind of want the kick and the snare and the toms, actually all of it, to be at the same level. I like to keep the samples on a separate bus as well, so I can just blend them in as I please. go. Right, so the final step is just mixing it a bit. I'm not going to fully mix everything properly. I'm just going to add a few things that just help make the drums sound a lot better. First is some compression. Logic has a really good preset. Yeah, classic drums that always just makes everything sound super beefy. Just want to match the output with the makeup to the input gain. And then the same again for the China. And then, same again on the drum bus, just to glue it all together. I know it's a lot, but it works. Right, a bit of saturation. I use this soft tube saturation knob. I'm pretty sure it's free. I can't remember, but it's fantastic. Nice, and then finally, air limiter. Just so you can push the drums super hard and keep it all under control. Set the output to about -3, that's what I tend to do. There is a bit there that sounds quite fake, do you hear it? So I'm just going to go in and sort that out. It's going to sound weird. I tend to put the samples a lot lower. Because on the drum kit, the lower the velocity actually changes what the sample is. It's like a softer sample, whereas this is just volume on the samples. I mean, what it needs really is a mix and making space for the kick and the snare and all that stuff. Right, well there we go. I'm going to play it a before and after so you can hear the difference. I do hope it was helpful. And yeah, I'll see you at the next one.